Welcome to Prime Life. We call it Retirement 2.0. Leave each episode with tips and new ideas to help you navigate retirement in our new age. It's your time. Make it count.
This podcast is for educational purposes only. It is not intended as medical, investment, or financial advice. We do not sponsor or endorse any of the individuals, companies, products, or services featured on this podcast. Any statements or opinions expressed are of the individual who makes them. We hope you enjoy the episode.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Prime Live podcast. I'm Mary Crean, and I'm here with my super fabulous co-host, Joseph Katz. Joseph, how are you today?
I am great, Mary. Always a pleasure to be here with you and, meet new fabulous guests.
Absolutely. So without further ado, please introduce our guests.
Thank you, Mary. So joining us today are Michael and Becky Villari, the husband and wife team behind Secure Virtual Solutions. As busy parents of 3 young children, ages 4, 3, and 2, yes, you heard that right, they understand the value of efficiency and support, both in life and in business. Through their company, they help business owners streamlining operations with highly skilled virtual professionals, freeing up time to focus on growth and what truly matters. Welcome to the show, Michael and Becky. Tell us a little bit more about yourselves and why you started this business.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having us. We were very excited to get to be a part of such an awesome podcast. So for Becky and I, for a very long time, we worked in corporate America, and it was comfortable, right? But we always felt like we were destined for more, right? Both my grandfathers were entrepreneurs. I just felt like I always had that entrepreneurial spirit, but we never really knew what we wanted to do. So Becky had this opportunity in her past role working with helping her company offshore a lot of their work to the Philippines. And what she quickly realized was that they were still jacking up prices to small business owners that matter, that backbone of America, right? The entrepreneur, but then cutting the cost of the employee, right? You outsource, you're really able to save yourself money as a business. And it's no secret, big corporations been doing this forever. But Becky was just like, why this? There's so much more to this. People that deserve this aren't getting the access to it that they deserve. What are we gonna do about it? So, we just started brainstorming, and the birth of Secure Virtual Solutions kind of came around. And for us, it's just helping small, medium-sized business owners, entrepreneurs free up their time by allowing them to outsource all that little bit of work that seems to take up the most time in their business, and taking them away from, what matters most, what they're passionate about, really what their sole source of income is, and why they start their business. So, we're really excited about our service. We're really able to give back, but for us, it's it's providing that administrative work, the data entry, the bookkeeping, the scheduling, the email management, managing call services. So yeah, that's about it in a nutshell.
Becky, do you want to add anything to that wonderful introduction?
He covered a lot.
She was nudging me. I think she felt like I was starting to ramble a little bit.
That's okay. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. The main goal of having virtual assistants is really just to help streamline your business operations, right? To get those tasks that take too much time out of your day, delegate them to somebody else that's reliable, and it gets done. It's really just to get something off of your plate to a reliable source.
I love that. And as you know, with the Prime Life podcast, we focus on the 55 plus market and audience. So I'd love to hear a little bit about how, because often people do what you've done. They're in corporate America. Maybe they stay a little bit longer and they're like, I want to do something more meaningful or something that I really always wanted to do. But let's face it, being an entrepreneur can be scary. What do I do first?
Yeah.
What do I do second? What do I take off my plate and hire to? So for those
So-
individuals that are maybe thinking about starting a business, maybe it's their second chapter or their third chapter, what advice would you give them as a first or second step?
I would say one of the first or second steps would be to hire a virtual assistant to help with your foundation, to help with your CRM. So if you're gonna need some type of way to track your leads that are coming in, to manage your email, to manage your marketing, your calendar. You're gonna need some type of support. You can't do it all. You feel like, oh, I can. But then something gets put on the back burner, whether you're still working and you're trying to do this on the side, then your family might get put on the back burner, or your hobby. It's spring and summer. You want to go golf? Well, I have this business I'm trying to get started. And then that kind of becomes a lesser priority. So I do think having a assistant, and that's what we did in the very beginning. We were still both working our corporate jobs. I hired a virtual assistant that took me months to find, but I finally found one that I loved. And she helped me from everything from research for CRMs to marketing, email marketing blast research. She helped me with everything, consolidated a lot for me, built our whole CRM system, our reporting. And that I was able to completely delegate to somebody who had that experience, had done it in the past for another startup, and was able to really like help me so I could prioritize my full-time job that I still had and my kids, and starting to get a business started. So it was nice to be able to delegate and still keep that as a priority for a very, very low cost.
So we've used a few terms, which I think we should define a little bit for those who may not be as tech savvy as the four of us at the moment. So maybe even take it a step back and you mentioned the Philippines and you mentioned virtual assistants. I think maybe we should define and describe what that means in a little bit more of a practical sense and how that works. Are you managing them on behalf of other people? Just maybe describe that a little. CRM, for those who are listening, is customer relationship management tools, right? So there's like not everyone's as savvy as others. After you do that, if you could maybe just dive into the fact that there are lots of older adults who own businesses, many of them small businesses. We had a guest on, I forgot the exact stat, but a lot of these people are going to now start retiring and they're going to want to sell those businesses. But there's also a lot of new tools and technology around that they may not even want to use, but could help them grow their business, whether that's social media, email marketing, what have you. Maybe you could describe how your service could help an older business owner sort of go into the new future, AI.
Yeah. You take the first, I'll take the second.
So I give you a lot, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
I'll
stuff.
take the first part, I'll take the second.
So to tie this into the 55 plus community that are watching and listening, this world can feel overwhelming, but it's overwhelming to everybody, right? The virtual assistant industry is still up and coming. And matter of fact, I think it was Warren Buffett that recently mentioned, like, come 2025, you're going to see this boom in this virtual assistant world, right? A virtual assistant is a person, right? It's not AI. It is a real live person. And the reason for Becky and I that we went into the Philippines and built our agency there, of which, by the way, never been there. We did this all virtually. Was not easy, but was a lot of fun. What we realized is the people in the Philippines have a lot of the same values as we do as Americans, right? But their cost of living is significantly lower. So, and they speak really good English, by the way, because I know that's often like a concern, right? You're not going to pick up the phone with one of your virtual assistants from the Philippines, and they're going to have a heavy accent. That is like one of the things we kind of we recruit to make sure that they speak good English. But the communication nowadays with just software and everything being, I mean, listen, COVID really is the reason that everything's being able to go virtual. Mary, you're in financial services. I'm sure there's a world before COVID where you were going house to house or meeting with person to person. If it's not you, that other financial advisor was doing the same. Then COVID hits and everybody go virtual, right? So there's so much we can do virtually, and virtually meaning just behind a computer, not face to face, not in person. But software technology, we know it can be overwhelming to folks our age, let alone the 55 and older community. So for Becky and I, our agency, our business is set to help you put in those systems and processes where they might feel a little dated. You're still pen to paper. We can sit back, figure out what your systems and processes are and how to digitize them. All while having a real live person over in the Philippines that we've gotten their background checks, that we've vetted 4 different ways before they even are able to be in front of a client. And quite frankly, we've built our business off of our team, right? In order for them to be client facing, we give them certain directions and things to do within our own business that help us grow and build, just to see, is their resume true? Can they really do this work? But I'll let kind of Becky take from here. We have a really awesome story of somebody we had worked with that owned a business that was in their older years but looking to retire. So you can go from there.
Yeah, we have a local plumber and water conditioning company actually, and he has been in service for 30 years. He acquired a company a few years ago. Still, everything scheduling wise is pen and paper on their scheduler. And he knows he's ready to retire in the next 1 to 3 years. And if he sells his business as is, it's going to be, not worth as much as it would be if he had some systems, processes, and more technology in place. So what we did is we went in, we scheduled 3 months for a project. We understood how the business was working as is. We did some research on the best types of CRMs, so customer relationship management systems that can track everything from a lead coming in all the way to billing. So it's like a one-stop shop for your business from a technology perspective, and how we could build in some automation. And then what we did from there was we brought in a VA to help
virtual assistant
to help import all of his, index card clients. They took pictures, they lined them up, took pictures, and she was able to zoom in virtually, add that all into this new CRM. She was able to contact each of the customers that they have, validate all of their information, and really we were able to put these systems in place for this business owner. So now when he is ready to sell his business in 1 to 3 years, the valuation will increase by 20 to 30% just from this 3-month project that we did to get him for the next 1 to 3 years working in a more digitized, systematic world.
That's an awesome story for a plumber.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. I agree.
Well, that's the fact of the matter is, a lot of we work well within the trades too, right? A lot of the folks that have started businesses in the trades, they're good at plumbing, they're good at roofing, they're good at installing, they're good with their hands. They don't know where to start when it comes to administrative, back office, organization. And Becky and I just kind of step in and kind of just put it all together and help them through it.
I'm still waiting for a call for a repair guy to come to my house. No, I'm just kidding.
What I really want to know is a little bit more about your secret sauce. And that is, so you meet with individuals and you kind of walk them through and you tell them a little bit about what you're going to do. But let's face it, those individuals still may be a little bit apprehensive, or again, I'm going to use the word frightened to a degree. So how do you ease those tensions, and what is your secret sauce in terms of the coaching and the trust that you need to quickly have them feel about you?
And we'll get that answer after a brief word from our commercial sponsors.
Nassau is always working harder to be your carrier of choice. We offer insurance products that can help you meet your retirement goals, such as protecting your savings, securing lifetime income, or paying for healthcare costs. We're dedicated to providing best-in-class service and are keeping things simple, and we'll have your back. We have around 400,000 policyholders and contract holders and have been doing this for a long time, 170 years, but we remain humble enough to always try to improve. For more information, visit nfg.com. Nassau insurance products are issued by Nassau Life and Annuity Company of Hartford, Connecticut, Nassau Life Insurance Company, East Greenbush, New York, or Nassau Life Insurance Company of Kansas, Overland Park, Kansas. Subsidiaries of Nassau Financial Group. Products are not available in all areas. Policyholder counts are for all Nassau companies as of September 30th, 2022, and are subject to change.
Sure. I mean, so for us, like Becky's got 15 years of experience in operations, right? I've worked 15 plus years in sales and marketing, right? Um, we're real people just trying to provide a very good service. At the end of the day, the amount of time we take to sit down, and we could go, if there's somebody local, we'll go to them. But if we have to meet virtually, we will as well. But we sit down and just listen and ask the important questions and just understand what it is that is keeping them up at night within their business, right? People want to be heard, and people they want to talk too, right? So Becky and I are here to listen. And at the end of that half hour, 45 minutes to an hour conversation, we're going to back that up with a 1 to 2 page analysis of the conversation, what we heard, what your pain points are, what our cost of service is, what we can do, and how we're going to do it. And then we deliver it. I mean, we've been able to do this over and over again to the point where, like, we're also happy to introduce them to some folks we've worked with and let them, pick other people's brains along the way. You want to add anything?
Yeah, I think I'm a big researcher, so I like to sit with our clients, and I do think trust is obviously the core of a lot of success. I like to understand exactly the full picture of what the business owner is doing present state. So, for instance, we had a call yesterday with a nurse practitioner. She's not on any systems yet, needs to get to a systemized place, and it all kind of, it's a little scary hearing all of these terms and whatnot. So I sat down and I said, well, exactly what do you use when, a client is first, how do you send an evaluation form to your patient? She's like, okay, so I am actually using more systems than I thought I was using. She was kind of shocked. We went through step by step. So now we're going to work on figuring out which system can kind of consolidate everything she's doing today and all of these other mismatched systems. And then this morning she sent me an email and I was already following up. And she's like, I can't believe you already got back to me and did all this research. I stay up late at night after the kids go to bed. But sometimes I just really dig in. So it's so intriguing to me, operations. And it really is my passion of kind of strategizing and figuring out all the different pieces that people are doing. Most businesses and people that are listening, your business probably feels like your processes are like scotch tape and bubble gum all over the place, and not streamlined or automated. Whereas there's just so much technology out there that's actually pretty simple to use that can streamline and automate all of that scotch tape and bubble gum.
So I'm a huge fan of automation. If I told people I work with how much automation I use, they probably would fire me because I replicate myself. But no, I agree with you 100%. Like there are so many tools out there on the market now, whether it's professional or personal, that you can just, simplify your life with, either auto responses or automatic scheduling or series of emails that get triggered. Like there's plenty out there that you can do. Posting things to social media, et cetera, et cetera. So my question for you guys, I have friends who have personal assistants to help them manage their lives. You're a busy couple, family. Do you also work with people to help manage, find them a personal assistant to manage their personal life as well as their business, and or separate or different, or however you want to answer that?
Yeah, we love to call that an executive assistant. Still from the Philippines. We've got a guy we're onboarding a virtual assistant to right now, and he's like, can this virtual assistant like go in and tell me what rewards I'm missing out on my credit cards? Like, I'm flying all over the country multiple times a week. Like, I know I'm missing out.
That's use points. I don't even know how they work.
We can do it, right? Yeah. Like, will they literally be blowing my phone up to let me know I have a meeting? Will they text me? Will they call me? Yeah, like, it's awesome because that is the world we're living in. I mean, people are so busy. They just need somebody to like just grab the bull by the horns and guide them through their own life. And we can do that. We've proven it time and time again. So, and then he turns around and he goes, well, like, can you help my wife too? I'm just like, okay, yeah, sure. Like,
put the kids to bed.
Yeah, right. I guess we could try and sing lullabies virtually, but it's been a lot of fun to see where we started and where we gotten to, and that Joseph, to your point, that executive assistant role was something we overlooked when we first started, but it's something now that is like really well received and what most people are also looking for.
And one thing I do want to mention with the executive assistant, a lot of people are hesitant to bring on an executive assistant because it might feel like a little burdensome. Is it that right?
Yeah.
To give it like, hey, what can I do today? Oh, I need you to do this, this, and that. It just seems like another thing to do, to tell somebody what to do. So what we like to do in the very beginning is structure out exactly the tasks that you need off of your plate and help the business owner or the entrepreneur, whoever it might be able to say, okay, these are the biggest things that are holding me back that I need to take off my plate. And we help organize the day-to-day structure for that executive assistant so that it doesn't seem like kind of like a burden to have somebody to have to another chore to do, basically, like tell another person what to do all day, like for their daily tasks.
To translate that into probably some more practical idea thinking for our listeners, scheduling doctor's appointments, pickups, all reordering of prescriptions, all that kind of stuff could be handled by an executive assistant, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Groceries.
And I think, going back to the question, which I didn't mention, I'm just thinking of, sorry, the question of secret sauce, like when you think of, we're basically a staffing / consulting agency, right? For Becky, with her experience in operations and her success she's had in the corporate world, for somebody to hire her as a consultant, it costs a lot of money nowadays. Our secret sauce is that you get access to Becky, and then our job is to give you a virtual assistant to run these systems and processes, and it's just it's a very low cost subscription based structure to where you shouldn't feel the cost burden of what we're providing, but we're offering such a high level of service, right? And you don't have to pay Becky $200 an hour to help you through this. Our goal is to build that relationship with you to where you can't imagine ever living life without us. And that $11 an hour you're paying us is nothing compared to what you're getting back.
That's your hourly average fee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you provide that really good overall umbrella strategy for starters. And I think that's where you build the trust with individuals, and then you connect them and match them with a virtual assistant, I think, as you pointed out. What I would like to dig in a little bit now, which is you talked about family members. That's what I thought I heard. Father, grandfather, who were former business owners. You have entrepreneurial blood in your background. Can you talk a little bit about how that influenced you, both of you, to want to strike out on your own and become business owners?
I think, you mentioned family, right? Grandfather, both my grandfathers, my mother's father, my father's father. The one thing that my mother could tell you about her father is that he was often there when she needed him to be, right? I mean, it's no secret, being an entrepreneur, you're working 24/7. However, for us, for Becky and I, starting this business and following in my grandfather's footsteps to be so entrepreneurial is knowing that what's most important to us are Sonny, Ro, and Ruby, our 3 kids, right? Oh my God, like the past 5 weeks, we've gone through a norovirus and the flu through all 3 kids, and even we got sick. But do you know what we were able to do? We were able to sit there with our kids, lay on the couch, and be there for them when they needed us the most. And that is worth its weight in gold to us. Just being able to be good mothers, a good mother, a good father, and be there for our kids is what's most important to us. And I think the underlying message to our service too is that, like, it's not just trying to get time back to go spend more time in your business. It's getting that time back to spend with your families, right? I think most people, most kids who had parents as business owners, not most, but a good amount, would turn around and say, like, my dad had his own business, I never saw him. that's not the point of being entrepreneurial and having your own business. It's to give yourself more time with your family. And that's really the deep-rooted reason why we started Secure Virtual Solutions.
Now, I think that's a very interesting point. And I may have shared this, I may not have. I am a former entrepreneur. My husband and I had 3 different businesses and our children were little. So I loved your story that you told about they weren't feeling well and you were able to sit on the couch with them. That's what we chose to do. However, I wished when we had our businesses that we had an organization that we could count on similar to what you're offering, because I know we would have made some different decisions. And I do believe that while people want to, grow their business, they want to earn income, they want to save for retirement, all the things, that we want for our kids are leaving a good legacy for our children. We also understand that it's that balance, because as you said earlier, most or many people who've had parents who've had businesses or grandfathers and grandmothers, they didn't see them too often because they were working. There's a saying that when you're in business for yourself, you're going to be able to work half days. It's which half of the day you want to choose to work. And so I think that's a very interesting point that you both make. Joseph, you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I love working with entrepreneurs, talking to entrepreneurs. You said something before about staffing service. And one of our first episodes, we spoke to an individual who was starting a business. He had worked at a very large corporation. He was starting a business to help older adults go back to work. And so like this whole idea keeps coming back in this world of, staffing and work. And it's interesting. I guess you sort of answered our question that we normally ask is like why you're doing this. And that was really nice to be able to spend time with the family. I guess my last question for you, because I know we're going to run out of time here, is what advice do you have to share, sort of that mic drop moment, if you will, like with our listeners about utilizing a service like this, or what they should be thinking about?
I'd say my biggest piece of advice, especially from like an entrepreneurial spirit, is to ask for help. I feel like a lot of times we think we can do it all ourselves, or we're very type A and we want it done a specific way. If we just take a deep breath and let something be a little different than how we would have done it, it can still get done. I think asking for help is really hard, at least it was for me. I'm very organized and like things done in a very specific way. But my life has changed dramatically when I ask and just explain something that I'm thinking to my virtual assistant, and then she even gives me an idea on top of it. So asking for help can completely transform, I think, your spirit from being an entrepreneur and starting a business and taking that next step on where to go.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to do it all ourselves.
I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
But I think too, when you are an entrepreneur, you have all this drive and passion. And so you really want to just go full steam ahead, which I love. And we all need to look deep within ourselves to see, because time is money, but also, again, so that we live a balanced life and we can live a long and prosperous life, because part of that is taking care of ourselves and taking care of our families. And as Joseph said earlier, you did really answer the question that we asked guests at the final question, which is, why do you do what you do? But if you want to add anything to the fact that you want to spend time with your family, go for it.
I mean, it all really started, besides the family piece, was to help small business owners, to help the struggling entrepreneur, the startup, the person who wants to have a small startup, not just like a big tech startup, and they don't really know where to start. They need that extra help to push them along the way. And that's where it really started. That's where I started. I knew I wanted to start a business. I needed a little bit of help, and I found a VA that was affordable. It's really that affordable help to the average American who wants to pursue something different in life, and make that change, whether it's from corporate to retirement, from, starting a new hobby that you maybe a pet walker, right? Somebody who's retired now wants to start a pet walking service. We had an inquiry about that. It's something that I really think is life-changing to the small business owner and the entrepreneur.
With that said, we'd love to have you share what's the best way an individual can get a hold of you if they'd like more information about what you do or how you can help them.
Sure. So our website's probably the best way to get a hold of us, and it's wearesvs.com. And most of the times when you go right into our website, the window will pop right up, the questionnaire. You can book now with us, and for Becky and I, it's just getting to understand the person in front of us and whether or not we can be of service. It just starts with a conversation.
Just for clarity purposes, it's WEARE or
Yep, correct. WEARESVS.com.
Oh, that's great. Joseph, you have any final thoughts?
No, it was fun. It's making me go back and think about what I could automate the rest of the day.
I'm sure that's what's going to take up the rest of your day, is thinking about what you can automate.
Yeah.
Michael, Becky, thank you so much for joining Joseph and I today. It was a pleasure to get to know you, and we look forward to another episode of the Prime Life podcast. Please give us feedback, follow us, like us. We're here, and we really appreciate our audience. Have a great day, everyone.
Remember to subscribe to the Prime Life podcast anywhere you find podcasts. You can find all of our episodes, contact information, and more on our website, primelifepodcast.com. Stay connected with us. Follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.